I'm very...
Have a couple
So-
minutes. So, you know, take your time. I'm gonna grab me a Bachlan, which I think, and we'll wait for more folks to file on in. Today should be a good one. Probably one of the last key ones that you guys will need. Be equipped with what you need, so. Be back in just a second. Hi, Deshaun. Hello, everybody.
Hey yo.
Hello.
Yo.
Okay. Sparkling. Go ahead and start adding people. Now. A pony. 6. I would make 7. I have too many bodies today. Okay. Make sure I share my screen. You guys can see. We'll just swap groups when we need to. We'll be going in and doing instance today. Because to explain what I need to explain, we need to do it from within an instance. So, we can take turns. I can do 2 groups if we have more for it, which I'm gonna venture to guess we will. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, we'll have more. So we'll do two turns of it, which is fine because it'll give you guys a chance to look at the other piece of material that I have for you, or just follow along by watching my screen. No spoiler content today. I found an instance that is Stormblood that we can actually do what we need to do so that the point is gotten. You guys get the point across pretty quick and easy, so. This will be the last teaching class, per se, that you guys are kind of doing this lecture and display style that we have. After this, our meetings after this will be all combat oriented. If we need to run 2 groups, that is totally fine. I have other teachers and we do have other rooms that we can use for that. But from the next time that we meet, we will be hopefully doing a Dawn Trail extreme. So for those of you who haven't quite unlocked a trial in Dawn Trail yet, Aether, I know you have an alt, I think, that is in Dawn Trail. So you may want to bring Seiji next week. But for those of you that haven't quite gotten to a trial in Dawn Trail, next Sunday that will be the thing. If you don't make it there or can't make it there before next Sunday, that's totally fine. Don't feel bad. You can still come to class, you can still watch screen, you can still kind of follow along with what's being taught. It'll just be a little less hands-on for you, obviously, because you won't be in the instance. You only need to get to the first trial, because once you do the first trial, you can unlock the extreme after that. So yeah, do not rush and enjoy your story. Exactly what Deshaun said. If we need to do something else, like a different extreme for you guys, that can be arranged as well. I just have to go and refresh my brain on the previous expansions once. But it is very, very doable. It's not a big deal. You're not a burden. You're not a burden. I'm doing this 100% willingly. I want you guys to feel like you have some confidence and are good at the game. So that's what this is for. As for today, we can go ahead and get started. I think, hello, I hope your guys' week was good, productive, and that daylight savings time is not kicking your ass too bad. The extra hour is throwing some people off from what I can understand, so. We are going to be covering Waymarks, markers, buffs, and debuffs in detail today. So a lot of those don't mean much of anything to y'all right now, which is totally fine. It's completely normal, completely natural. We're gonna go through it, so not to worry about it at all. I am just gonna I'm gonna start grabbing. For those of you that don't make it into the party, that's totally fine. Don't freak out, don't trip about it. It's not a big deal. We're just gonna start stealing people as they come. Mina has a vague understanding of waymarks and markers. I think you do too, don't you, Paka? I'm gonna grab those of y'all that may not have any kind of understanding. Deshaun, will you grab... Actually, scratch that. Give me a second. 2 seconds, Deshaun. I'm gonna take you in here real fast and give you these markers. That way you can take them into, quote unquote, the same classroom. It's literally just a normal, I just have it unsynced so for teaching purposes. But yeah, anybody that has like a vague understanding of what waymarks are already, just have you take, and that way everybody is in at the same time. Let me cue this up real fast. We will be using Castrum Fluminous as our... Also, while I'm on Monk. We will be using Castrum Fluminous as our classroom today. Because I've already set up a set of waymarks that's been carefully measured, and that does fall in line with the mechanics in the normal. Also because if you come in here unsynced, it is relatively safe. There is not much that can kill you. So you are free to actually walk around and study what we're looking at. Let me know when you grab those and we could just back out. All right, cool. And then that way Deshaun can take the people that have an understanding of what waymarks are, and you guys can just kind of follow along and vibe. And whatnot. Grab other people you have an understanding, swap you with someone else. Okay, so then let's take Splash and Yada and Aether. Deshaun, grab Mina and Avatar Korra for me. Take Steern and Sani. You are also gonna want to grab Revan and then Zertis, who's leaning against the wall back there. Those will be your other two as well. And I think Ami is on her way as well. Ami, I don't know how intimate your understanding of waymarks are, but there's room on either team. If you want to go with the advanced class, well, they're not really advanced, but if you want to go with the other folks, you can. I have 2 spots open on my side as well for people who have like no understanding whatsoever of markers or waymarks. I know you've been in chaotic, Ami, so you may want to go with Deshaun. Yeah, just need a refresher. Okay, so while we wait for Ami to get here, I have something for you all. I'm gonna go ahead and just put this in the call chat. You're gonna want to copy paste that. We will be using that in a bit. Okay, Pony is on his way, so I'll grab him as well. This is probably gonna be your best friend, so you should probably want to save that somewhere. So you're gonna grab Korra, Mina, because these two have both done EXs. They understand what markers and waymarks are. Zertes has as well. Zertes has some extreme experience. You're gonna have Zertes. Revan does as well. So right there in the front, that bun boy Revan, grab him. And then Ami, who just got here, who has been in chaotic and extremes, also understands what waymarks are. So that's those are my advanced class kids. And while you guys are in there, feel free to chat about stuff. Since you guys have an understanding of what waymarks and markers are and how they work, Sean can drop some knowledge on you in your party chat while I'm blabbing about the basics, so you guys will get a little bit of extra kind of, hey, let me give you some next level stuff while we go over just kind of the basics with the everybody else. We just waiting for Pony. I know his loading screens are ridiculous. So once that is there, we will do that. I don't think we have anybody else. Am I missing anybody else? No, I don't think so. That looks like all of you, yes? Just to make sure. Ava, Rev, Ami, Mina, and Zira, right? Yes. Yes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yes. Correct. Make sure you pick up all of them. We'll be talking about jargon a little bit too, so you guys will get to hear some raider jargon or some things that you may hear while you're in somewhere, so we can get some of that down and familiarize yourself with it. That'll be our day. Exciting day. The Google Doc that I put in the call chat is a list of buffs and debuffs, very common ones. This is not my list. I did not make this list. I found this list. And since it is a Google Doc, I decided to hold on to that with all my might. Warning about Google Docs in general, if the creator decides that they don't want the document to be a thing anymore, then the document is just gone. So it may be in your vested interest if you think that this is valuable information. I think that it is. It may be in your vested interest to just copy that over into like a Word doc or a file somewhere where you have it and can keep it and know that it won't go missing. It's here now, and it's probably been here for years at this point. I'm going to assume that the owner still plays 14, and so they just keep that for people to use as they come along, or as they encounter it. But in the event that they just get a wild hair one day and decide, I don't know, they want to quit the game and they delete this, it's just gone forever. So this is information that you may very well want to copy paste and put somewhere so that you have it. We can very quickly kind of run through some of them because I know we are still waiting on Pony to get here. So once he's here, we can jump in and do our field activities. But if you want to pull that up, in the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and get stuff started. So, buffs and debuffs are little status effects that your character and maybe even something that you're fighting can get on them over the course of combat. The way to tell the difference, if you're on page 1, is very, very easy. We can actually use the first example that are the red and the blue there, which we'll talk about in just a second. If the arrow side is on the top, that is a buff. So you notice how it looks like a little house, right? If it looks like a little house, it's facing upright, that is a buff. That is something that helps you. If it is on the bottom side, where it's like an upside down house, that is a debuff. That is something that may hinder, interfere, or hurt you. Some of the buffs and debuffs are cleansable. For buffs, if you have one on you that you don't want, and for whatever reason, you can just literally click mouse over it and click on it, it will disappear. It's gone. For debuffs, if they have a white bar over the top, like a little border, that is something that is cleansable. So your white mage can usually Asuna that away. In some cases with things like Doom, if your health bar is filled up or certain other requirements are met, it will disappear early as well. If that is not the case, then they are non-cleansable and you just have to either adhere to it or do what you want to do. We will go over these in depth after we have gone over like Waymarks and stuff. Doesn't Bard also have an ability that can remove one? Yes, Bard has one as well as white mages. As far as I know, I don't know how much use it gets, to be honest with you. So I'm not gonna attest to Bard. I am not a Bard player. All right, we've picked up Pony. I would like all of you to switch to the classes that you plan on raiding with for me. And then one by one, approach me. I have something for you. You guys just want to line up bit by bit once you have selected the class that you plan on raiding in. All right, and you're a tank, so we're gonna give you a couple of these. couple of these. Hang on to those until you get into your instance.
Thank you.
Painter. Deshaun, is it mine or intelligence for casters? It's intelligence, right? Or is it mind? That might be healers I'm thinking about. Two of these. Hi, Rain. And then I want to say it's int. No, it might be mind. I'd have to look. I'm gonna give you. Oh, it's not Rain. That's Yada. It's intel. Okay, cool. Just want to make sure. Give you a few of these as well. As soon as I can get my thing to act right. All right. Take those. Mind is healers then. All right, Yada. I have a crazy abundance of mind pots for whatever reason. We'll figure. And you'll just want to hang on to these until, again, we get into the instance. Don't use them just yet. Yeah, you're not Rain. You're Yada. We now have 2 Yadas in here. We have our learning Yada and our rating Yada in here. Splash is on caster, so that's int for you. 2 of these. Couple of those. Inar is our healer. I will give you these, even though you're probably just gonna laugh and give them right back because you are my plug. But that's okay. Here you go. It's for you, Nina. And Monk is strength, I'm pretty sure. Monk is strength, right, Deshaun? Am I making it up? Pretty sure it's strength, yeah. Yeah, okay, I thought so. Yes, we are going on a field trip today. Steern is on dancer. Oh, look at this. One of my own here. These. And these. And Revan's our tank. So for you, 2 of these. Strength pots for you. Ninja and Viper are the only ones that use Dex. Thank you, because I wasn't sure which melees it was. And then you are Red Mage, so we've got int pots for you. Perfect. 2 of these. And Christmas. 2 of those. All right, does everybody have pots? Zertez, did you get pots? I don't know if I gave you any. You don't need any? You don't need any food either? Do you have cookies and pots? I got throwaway pots, so you don't have to use the good ones if you don't want them. Okay. If you're sure. I want to make sure. I bought some throwaways. These are just grade ones because we're going to be playing with them. You gave them the big ones? Why are you giving them big stuff? Wouldn't that include Dragoon that uses Dex if that were the case? Not necessarily. So we talked a little bit about gear and what that primary stat would be last week, right? You have to check what your primary stat is for whatever class you are playing. And with melees, there's a couple of weird ones in there that use Dex pots, which is what aiming classes or ranged classes use, instead of like strength pots. So it really just depends on the class itself. All right, so I'm gonna pop a ready check. Sean, you probably do the same on your side. We are going to go into what is a relatively safe and harmless environment for the sake of learning today. Looked like there's more than 8 as a fill needed. Not necessarily, because we're just learning at the moment. If we go where I am thinking about taking you guys, maybe, which Yada you may want to be in for because it's like your favoriteest place in the whole wide world, but neither here nor there. It'll be unsynced. if we do go. But for now, we're just gonna get the hang of markers, waymarks, and that sort of stuff before we do anything. So we're gonna queue in. Once we get in here, just vibe out. Deshaun does have the other group. I don't know if he's sharing his screen or not. Probably. We'll see. Find out in a second. To the rest of you, this is unsynced for the time being. Just rock out, hang out back here. Actually, let's clear the field. Let's go ahead and take her out really quick so that we can wander around while I explain, and then we'll just reload back in and actually do the fight when it's time. Get rid of her! It's unsynced. This shouldn't take very long. You guys probably want to do the same on your end too. Clear the field. Do not leave after the fight is over. We need to be in here, and we need to be able to walk around. So once you guys finish your Tsukiyomi, stay put. Don't leave. Yeah, dark. Not, I'm snitching. Leave Sean alone, bro. Oh my gosh. Right, get rid of your bestie so we can finish this out with PDQ. Yeah. Transformation. Once you're out of the finishing screen, I'll give you a couple of minutes to turn your game music down, unless you want to listen to victory music for the next 45 minutes. I'm gonna venture to guess you don't. Close match. So if you want to go into your settings and turn down your game background music, please feel free to do that now. We are going to be in here for a hot minute, so I don't know how you feel about listening to that play out in the background for the entire time that we are in here. It may be distracting. It would be for me if I was you, so and turn that off for a second if you can. Check and see if Deshaun is... Okay, they're done, they're ready. He's already got everything set up. Perfect, cool. All right, so today we are going to go over waymarks, markers, buffs, and debuffs. These glowing, colorful circles are waymarks. If you notice, there are 8 of them, 4 different colors, red, yellow, blue, and purple. And they are arranged in a circle, similarly to the arena we are standing in, that is also arranged in a circle. When you start getting into higher end stuff, extremes, and especially savages, you will start getting very familiar with these as waymarks. There are a couple of static rules where these are concerned. I am going to teach you those as well as the jargon that goes along with them today. If at any point you have questions, please feel free to ask. I have the chat open, and I can answer them. The first thing I am going to teach you is probably going to be your best friend, and that is how to copy and steal. It's not really stealing, but copy and keep waymarks that you see, like the ones set up here now. So, if you are mouse and keyboard, this is very easy. Control M is how you get this screen open. And then from there, you'll get a nice little window that you can open up that says waymarks. And you will probably have a bunch of blank slots. If you've already been into EXs and this has already been taught to you, you'll have stuff there. But you can just click on one to save the waymarks. Now, this is dope when you're progging something and you don't have a lot of time throughout the day to do it, because then you can just save them and go back later, and if you don't have any of the previous people with you, you still have the waymarks with you, so you can continue on as you were. The downside is, as of right now, without plugins or any added help, you can only save them per situation. So these waymarks that you have copied and saved will only work here in Castrum Fluminus. If you try to take them and use them somewhere else, it will give you an error that tells you that selected waymark preset cannot be used in this area. And that's the bad side. You can go ahead and mess with these. If you notice, all the individual waymarks should be shown up there. You can see them and all that sort of fun stuff. Go ahead and touch them, try to click them, move them around, play with them a little bit. No matter what you do, I can always put them back. So, take a couple of minutes, familiarize yourself with that. I need to figure out how to do this for console-only players because I haven't before, and I gotta remember where it is. Okay, so if you are on console, if you push start, go to the party menu, there is an option for waymarks. That is how you will get it open if you have a controller only and do not have access to a mouse and keyboard. So yeah, take a couple of minutes, play with these, move them around, figure out how they work. If you're on controller, if you're on mouse and keyboard, it's totally fine. You can move from that spot to is safe, we killed her. You can go wherever you want to in the arena, check them out, walk around, see how they're set up. One of the other things that is typically a universal truth, we'll cover once you guys are done kind of fiddling and futzing around with them. Take your time, touch them. I want you guys to get comfortable moving around waymarks because this is a skill that you're going to need in the wild. Give you guys a few minutes to do that. If you have questions in chat so far, please feel free to ask them. I've got that open as well. I know how to save them. Never tried to place them before, though. Yeah, this is the arena. I want you guys to try to place them, remove them, put them back, do all that sort of stuff. Get comfortable playing with them. Move your body with them. If you notice, you can start a waymark and then run around, and it will carry as you do. I want you guys to like play with them, because this isn't really something you get to do when you get into a group to prog. So getting you guys comfortable with using them now will help you bet in the long run.
Are the letters and numbers always the same color? Like A always red?
Yep. A and 1 will always be red. 2 and B will always be yellow. 3 and C will always be blue. And D and 4 will always be purple. So every now and then when you're learning a fight and you're in a party, like let's say you join a VC with random people, they may go, oh, your group's supposed to go to purple. They're talking about D, Delta, or 4.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I'm colorblind, so the blue and purple looks the same for me.
Yep.
So I just didn't know the differences.
Yep. 3 and C are blue, 4 and D are purple, but typically a good raid caller is not using the colors. You may hear the phrase color buddies from time to time. And what that just means is, hey, you're in a specific quadrant with a specific set of 2 markers. But good raid callers are not calling colors. They're calling alpha, delta, bravo, that sort of thing. So it's not really something you have to worry about per se. There are plugins out there that can change the colors of these, if I am to understand correctly. I don't have those resources, but I'd be happy to find them for you guys if need be. I do know that I think the game has some colorblind options too. I don't know what that does to waymarks. AKA markers, in the long interim, though. All right, has everybody had a chance to play with the waymarks? Just making sure. Okay,
yep.
Cool. Pop those right back where they go. So there are a couple of universal truths with these. It's really, really fun. One of the biggest universal truths for the most part, I've yet to run into an instance where it's not. Ultimates included, actually, now that I'm thinking about it. Alpha, the A waymark, is always north. Charlie, the C waymark, the one closest to you guys, is always south. If you look at your mini-map, you'll notice you can see the waymarks on the mini-map as well. They form the same circle. I want you guys to run around the arena and see how they work in relation to like your little You know what I mean? Check that out. A is always north. If you look at the little compass, you've got north, south, east, west. A will always be north. C will always be south. Bravo and Delta do what Bravo and Delta want to do. In some groups, they will be backwards. Right now, I have them going clockwise. So, like the hands of a clock in terms of order. But there are situations where these may not be the case with Bravo and Delta, or even the number markers as well. So the always north, always south thing only applies to Alpha and Charlie. Me having issues remembering left, west, and right, east 70% of the time. Yeah, that's why, well, I said a good caller will use Bravo Delta to call those and not BD, because number one, they sound the same, especially if your nerves are high. And number two, they're not always in the same spot, so got to use your eyes a little bit. The only ones that typically do not move are Alpha and Charlie. I tell folks to get used to orienting themselves using the A. A is always north. So if we were in a raid together and I say reorient, that's me telling you, find the A, figure out which direction is north, because whatever I'm getting ready to tell you is going to involve east-west next. Is kind of what that means. If you drop me in the forest from the compass, I will die. We played with the HUD a little bit last week. I am not one of the people that moves my mini-map, but there are many, many raiders that do. So at this time, if you would like to change your mini-map location in your HUD layout, please do that. Go ahead and go into System and then HUD, and then you can literally just drag and drop that guy somewhere more prominent that you think would be more beneficial. I know plenty of raiders that have it down by their buttons. I know plenty of other raiders that put it by their party list. This is more of a color your world. Put it where it makes the most sense for you and your eyes. Yeah. For me to understand cardinals, I have to look at the radar. Yes, and that's why I'm having you guys move your mini-map right now. So if you want to rearrange where that is on your HUD, please do so. I don't use my mini-map a whole lot personally as a raider, but I'm also playing a Fizz range, so like it's not really something that drags my eye unless I am in a dungeon. There are plenty of others that do though. And so for that reason, if you want to put it somewhere more prominent where it's easier for you to see while you're in the action, please do that now. Markers and the minimap kind of go hand in hand. And so we want that there. We're going to talk a little bit about terminology really quick. If you'll notice, there's a little bit of a pattern here, right? It kind of goes letter, number, letter, number, letter, number, letter, number. That's not for style reasons. The letter markers, Alpha, Bravo, Charlie, and Delta, will signify your cardinal directions. Cardinal direction is just a solid, hard direction. North, south, east, west are your cardinals. So letter markers will typically indicate that. And then you have something called intercardinals, aka intercards. You will hear somebody in a raid say intercards. That is referring to the numbers and the spots in between hard cardinal directions. So you have northwest, northeast, southeast, and southwest. That is what intercards or intercardinals refers to. That is something that you will hear called out a lot of times in raids. You'll hear it a lot in guides as well. So you want to familiarize yourself with those terms, cardinals, intercards, or cards, inters, if you really want to be edgy about it. Very rarely do I hear people say letter or number markers, because again, depending upon what fight you're in, these can change. You could have your numbers be your cardinals, and you could have your letters be your intercards. It really just depends. What were the letters called? Cardinals. Those are your cardinal directions. That's what they're indicating for us right now. It's not necessarily that they're called that, but cardinal directions. A for Alpha, B for Bravo, C for Charlie, and D for Delta. And that's just military terminology. That's the phonetic alphabet, is where that comes from. People will use other words as well, too. When you get silly and you get comfortable reading, you'll hear stuff like, I don't know, C for cack. Whatever works Am I yoinking Pony? You know, Pony was supposed to be in here with us. Did he leave? The instance he was in here. Oh. Uh-oh. You were supposed to stay put, Pony. Oh, for being AFK. Yeah, make sure you wiggle your mouse every few minutes. Yeah, if you want to grab him, unless Pony, do you want to come back in here with us? It's entirely up to you. For now, you can kind of watch my screen. There's a little bit more that I want to go over. But we can like recover the ground. I'll grab him when we get finished in here. But if you want to take them back in, saw a wild pony on the outside. Oh no, he got stuck. They kicked him out the club. Okay, so yeah. If you'll notice, these are also in a circle. Yeah, just watch the screen for now. The stuff that I'm going over is more lecture-y anyway. You guys will get hands-on with it in a second. They're also in a circle. Like a clock, right? I know you're saying, Spooky, clocks have 12 hands. That's fine. Clocks have 12 markers. In Final Fantasy, clocks have 8 markers, okay? So one of the calls that you will get in a lot of cases is called clock positions. What this means is, Sani, if you want to come here for me for a moment. There are designated places, depending upon the role that you're playing, that you will go. Tanks will typically stand at Alpha and Charlie, although sometimes tanks will be at Bravo. It really just depends if you're the off tank. But there's always a tank at Alpha. That doesn't change. If you are a magical ranged player, Miss Wallace or Splash, both of you actually, come here. You're going to be over here typically, on the 2. Sometimes you'll be on the 1 side, but typically magical ranged or casters will take the 2 slot, generally speaking. Healers will be at Bravo and Delta most of the time, East and West. These are the healer clock spots for the most part. If you are the Bravo healer, sometimes you are at Charlie. It just depends on whether or not the off tank needs to be over here or over here, depending on the fight. But they do switch places. That is a thing. So keep that in mind. And if you're melees, you're typically down here in the 3 and 4 spots. Why? Well, if the tank is at A, the boss is facing the tank, which means if you have positionals, being at 3 and 4 makes it very, very easy to hit those on a boss ring. So melees will take the 3 and the 4 spots. Fizz ranged, like yourself, Stern, usually find themselves at home on the 1 spot, right over here. So if you're playing Dancer, Bard, or Machinist, you'll be right over here on the 1 spot, right in between the tank and the healer. Occasionally, you'll be 2 spot. It really just depends on the fight. As a rule of thumb, these are designated clock spots depending upon what role you are playing. They do switch up in some fights, so I want you to know that this is not a hard and fast rule, but if somebody were to say, you're going to do clock positions, this is what that means and this is what that would look like in practice. In addition to clock positions, you have something called Group 1 and Group 2, which I'm going to explain in just a second. I'm going to steal our markers now, and I'd like you to come back here. We're not quite done with clocks. When you first get into a fight, someone will do this. This is indicative of the clock positions that we just saw. Very good, Miss Wallace. So you will go and stand on the square where you would be normally for a fight. Absolutely perfect. You guys got it down to a T. And it just represents, this is where I'm going if we have to do clock spreads. Spreads meaning I have to be away from everybody else. We know what spreads are for, right? We've seen the AoEs, we talked about that. If I have to do a clock spread, this is where I'm gonna go for my clock spread. This is my room, this is my spot, nobody else's. So you'll see people do that when you get into instances sometimes. After they do this, occasionally you'll see something like this happen. Nobody moved just yet. And it's like, well, what the hell? We did clock spots. Yes, but now we have to do light parties. So, taking it back to the big clock here for just a second. 2 through C is Group 2. A through 4 is Group 1. I'll say it again. If you're if your clock position is from the number 2 to the letter Charlie, you will usually be in light party number 2. If your clock position is from Alpha to the number 4, you are usually in light party number 1. So we translate that out, right? We're getting ready for our stuff. They do this, we hit our clock spots. Then they do this. Who's group 2? You would be over there as well, Miss Wallace. Well, you and Splash are both casters, but this is your spot, so typically you would just walk on over here if that were the case. Light party spreads consist of exactly what it sounds like, a light party. Think about dungeons. When you're in a dungeon, it's a 4-man instance. You get that big splash of the words light party across before you guys start, right? It's 4 people, so it will usually be made up of 1 tank, 1 healer, 1 ranged, and 1 melee. Same thing with group 1. The sides that they're on right now would be the sides that you would traditionally spread to as well. This is also some sort of like unspoken common knowledge kind of thing. So if you are group 2, you're automatically going to run towards the east or the Bravo side of things. If you have to stack with a light party or do something with your light party, you're going to do it on this half of the arena, the right side. If you're group 1, you're going to run towards Delta or the west and do whatever you got to do on this side of the arena. Think of the arena as a circle that's been cut in half. Group 1 is on this side, group 2 is on this side. Traditionally speaking, these are these kind of unspoken rules that people have worked out over time to help organize as quickly as possible without having to explain every little thing in like a fight. So you'll see this a lot. Light party spreads are left, right. Group 1 are, purples and reds. Group 2s are yellows and blues, all those sorts of things. Clock positions, we worked those out. Color pairs are the last thing I want to talk about. And I know this might be tough in your case, Sonny, because you said you're colorblind, but just kind of work with me here. I'll do my best to make sure I'm using the letters and numbers instead. Color pairs are exactly what they sound like. Based on your clock positions, if you guys want to run back to these for me, you are going to be partners with the same person that matches your marker color. So for the alpha marker, it's the number 1. Oftentimes the main tank will be paired up with the Fizz ranged. If you are Bravo healer, oftentimes it will be the magical caster that you're paired up with. In some cases, these will be backwards though. If it is a situation where the melees have to be with the ranged, it changes things a little bit. So keep that in mind. But typically speaking, and especially when we're using the term color pairs, it means that your partner has the same color clock spot as you. And if you notice, these kind of split really neatly into quadrants of 4s, right? So instead of that half circle, we now have like a 4 chart for a pie. These are the areas that you would execute whatever needs to happen in. So in the in the Bravo 2 situation, you guys would hang out in the northeast quadrant and resolve together whatever it is that the partners have to get together to resolve. Same thing with Alpha and 1. You guys are northwest most of the time. Delta and 4 will be southwest, and Charlie and 3 will be southeast. Color pairs, color quadrants, that's what that refers to. Any questions?
I'm sorry, repeat that one more time for me.
Which piece? Just the color quadrant piece?
Yeah, the color quadrant part again. I'm sorry.
Okay. It might help if you look at your mini map too. So if you look at your mini map, if you notice the yellow, the 2 and the Bravo are just kind of hanging out between the N and the E as far as that compass is concerned. Do you notice that?
Yes.
That means that your color quadrant would be northeast. So if you look at the floor, we've got this neat little cross here, which is partially why I chose this one. It's really easy. You would resolve whatever. Let's say you're in a fight, right? And you have to do color pairs in your quadrant. Your quadrant is northeast. This nice little piece of slice. If you look at the floor from a top down, it's a piece of slice. This whole area here, right? Yeah. Kind of dope. And that would be true for all of the other colors as well. So blue would hang out down here. That's Charlie in 3. Purple would hang out over here. That's Delta in 4. And yes, red would be here, 1 in Alpha. Color quadrants is often what that is referred to as. And that means that you're taking the same person that has the same marker color as you, and you're solving whatever in your little room. Any other questions? Okay. So I've given you guys the basics. We've talked about clocks, we've talked about pairs, we've talked about light parties, we've talked about looking at the arena and breaking it down according to the markers. The last thing I want to point out before we leave is the floor itself. The floor is your guiding light and your key, and you will see this more when we come back in here in just a second. But I want you to pay attention next time you're in a trial or a raid somewhere. There is almost always a pattern of some sort on the floor. A set of geometric shapes, markers, naturally etched into the floor of the arena that you are fighting in. It's here too. I want you to kind of examine that in relation to the markers that we have down right now. There's going to be a lot that immediately stands out to you. Number one, our cardinal directions are literally being pointed at by the giant ass cross in the middle of the room. Our inner cards have their own pointers. If you look, it's got this little Christmas tree situation going on where all of the number markers are. And if Tsukiyomi herself were here, you would notice that her hitbox is the same as this tiny little 4-square vent thing here. Her hitbox is the same size as this. I tell folks to top down, and that just simply means to turn your camera so that you can see the very top of your character's head. I tell folks to top down a lot, and the reason is because oftentimes the floor will snitch. The floor is the biggest op that any boss has in this game. It will tell you where it is to go, where it's safe to be, how far away you can be, how close you can be, what directions or where. The floor be snitching. And that's not just necessarily true of in here, it's just very obvious in here versus other places. But all of them do it. Every single floor. It's rare to encounter a floor that does not, and most of the time if you do, it's in an ARR instance that is the case. Outside of that, floor be telling. Floor is a snitch. It's literally the map. It's the key. So let's go back out, pick up Pony. We're going to come back into these instances. I am going to sync it. Well, I'm going to unsync it first. We're going to go through it unsynced, and we're actually going to fight. I don't want you to necessarily kill her right away. Instead, what I want you to do is look at the markers. I want you to pay attention to the markers and the floor as the fight progresses. The rest of you guys, I'll hit her just to get some different moves and stuff like that out of her. The rest of you guys, just keep your weapon sheathed, look around. You don't even necessarily have to dodge. We have a healer. Actually, I'll switch to healer. Make sure that we stay alive. Don't even worry about it. I can do that. That's not a big deal. Once we go back in, I want you guys to spend this time studying the floor in relation to the markers that I set down. I want you to spend this time looking at her attacks and how wide those are, how exactly those come out in relation to where the markers are. What I'm trying to get you to look at and recognize are patterns. We talked about pattern recognition in the very first meeting, right? And working out mechs and trying to solve the puzzles on the fly. Paying attention to the floor. If you're in a high end, using the markers to your advantage to figure out how close or far you can be from danger. All play into that as far as a skill set is concerned. So I want you to just be studying the environment around you. I want you to look at the floor. I want you to look at the markers. I want you to look at the attacks that come out. I want you to see if you can piece some shit together and if the markers help you decipher what's going to happen in a fight. Here's your ready check. All right, we're going to leave it unsynced for now. We will go through this synced again because I think that going through it synced will help you truly understand like how to dodge and move. But for the time being, for this instance, I'm gonna leave her alive. I'm gonna toy with her and attack her a little bit. I want you guys to focus on not her. Don't even worry about swinging on her. Leave her alone. You guys are here to see what you can dodge and how you can use the markers to your advantage, okay? She gonna die regardless. It's fine. All right, I'm gonna go pull. The rest of you guys enjoy observing. Interesting, right? You see where that sat? How that cut directly through? Yeah, you seeing it, ain't you? It's super helpful. And it's not just that. This is the true with a lot of them. Look at where the fans are in relation to the markers. This ain't nothing but a big ass game of geometry, y'all. Like, you are literally just having fun with shapes throughout this entire situation. And a good set of markers will make your life easy as sin, bro. Like, just checking stuff out as it happens and seeing how it works out in relation to everything. Basic shapes, my weakness. So you notice that cloud spawned over that little heating lamp over there?
Oh, yeah.
These ones you guys might want to kill. I don't know what happens if they touch. I'm not gonna hold you. But yeah, like, it's not... It's just a big-ass game of geometry, dude. And depending upon where you're standing and what you need to do, that'll tell you how it works. Pony, you missed it because you were out of here, but typically as a melee, your marker spots will be at the 4 or the 3 when you're in higher and stuff. We can just kill these. There's not a lot to be gleaned from the ads phases, but I mean, you can check them out if you want. See how they kind of spawn at intercards and cardinals, that sort of thing. Kind of looking at where stuff comes in, how attacks hit in the first place. If you notice, everything operates off of a cardinal or an intercardinal plane, right? You're seeing that. The markers are just kind of lining it up. Now I want to show you, because occasionally the floor will change when you're going through this stuff. I want you to pay attention to how the markers are persistent despite the fact that the floor changes. Toss that out. Take damage. See how they are still helpful? How there's still kind of a pattern to what's happening despite the changes to the floor.
Oh, yeah.
They're still north and south for Alpha and Charlie. They're still touching the ring. She is still perfectly aligned with that ring that is directly under her. You can literally see the arena cut in half right now, so if you wanted to practice light parties, you could. Attacks are still spawning in the cardinal and intercardinal kind of phase, if you look, right? And you can kind of get the hang and figure out where the safe spots are just by paying attention. This is the one mech that can kill you, so just be careful to swap your moon. Make sure you swap your moons a little bit. If you let them fill, you can die. That's the only thing I'll tell you. Yeah. This is the one thing that can take you out. Nah, you're good. Actually, don't worry about it. But like, look, if I was the tank, right, and I'm standing right here, that's halfway through the inner cards, 1 and 2. It's just different stuff like that. And you can see it, and it's true no matter what's happening. The fans are spawning at cardinals and intercardinals. She does a cleave, or we'll point at some stuff, right? Any questions about any of this? Okay. If not, then you guys are good to go. These are just things that you kind of want to look at. You want to kind of search for the patterns in the floor, the secrets in the floor, the patterns and the markers that are being laid out. Those are the sorts of things that you just want to kind of look for. We can go ahead and take her out, and then if you would like, we can come back in here and do it synced, so that you can kind of see it play out a little more naturally while you're fighting. It's entirely up to you, though. One time class is over, but after. Oh, I'll go over ninja stuff. Yeah, you guys talk about. Who said we wanted to do that geometry? Yoshi P. Yoshi P like shapes. You forgot you muted your BGM. Since changing what timer I'm looking at. Oh, you guys are talking about ninja stuff. All right. Questions, comments, concerns. And this stuff does just kind of go back into the whole finding the pattern in the floor, finding the pattern in the mechanics as they get more and more complex when we go through.
I do have one question.
Yeah.
So when we do a stack or any type of movement that will probably force us out of our positions, after all of that, after those mechanics are done, we immediately go back to our clock positions afterwards?
Sometimes, not always. So the clock positions are more like tattletale keys or safety beacons than like you must be here at all times. There will be times where you do need to be on your marker, but for the most part, that marker is like your little personal room. That's your home. That's how you're going to orient yourself and find your way as you go through a fight, right? So there may be times where, like, if you noticed in Tsukiyomi, that tank cleave, that was taking up half of your marker. You noticed that? Right. So there may be times where it's not safe for you to stand on your marker. You just got to use your discernment and be where you're supposed to be for everything in between. Fights follow a flow where you have a mechanic that you need to resolve, which is just a miniature puzzle, right? We've talked about that. And then there's some downtime while the boss is like whooping the tank's ass. So in that in-between time, you may not necessarily have to be anywhere. And in some fights, you may want to use that to your advantage to like pre-position, especially as a caster. So you're like, okay, bam, 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 we did a mech, right? I know for the next mech, I have to be at my clock spot, spread back. And right now, I'm south with the group because that's where we solved the last mech. I've got some downtime. Let me start heading that way now if I can do so safely. And then I am already where I need to be for the next mechanic type deal. Does that make any sense? Am I answering your question?
Yeah, I understand now.
Okay, yeah. Like, you don't want to be married to your markers. You want to kind of think for yourself and use them to help you get through the fight, more or less. There are times where you need to be on your marker specifically, but depending upon what fight it is, that will change. When, how, and why can change. So like partner stacks, light parties, clock spots, that's the sort of stuff that you will see come up very often in fights. But it's not necessarily consistent in every single fight that you will go through. Very, very, very prominent, just not necessarily consistent. I'm gonna take Ali, since we do need another tank anyway. I'm just gonna steal him, and then we will do a synced run of Tsukiyomi. And we can start talking about buffs and debuffs as we go in this time. Okay. Everybody's on their stuff that they need. All right, so when we get in here, don't pull right away. I don't know if Allie's in call with us. Are you in call with us, Allie? Yeah, you are. Okay, cool. Yep. Don't pull right away because we're going to talk about the stuff that I gave you when we started, as we first went in. Gonna be a little bit of lecturing, and then we can try and like kick our ass for real. Let's. Are you wanting to do main tank or off tank things when you raid, Tawny?
I'm trying to do a main tank.
Okay. Well, there you go.
I didn't know if it was like a tank as well. I don't know.
So main tanks and off tanks have kind of two different responsibility sets when it comes to like savage raiding. In extremes, it's less prominent because most of the time both of y'all are getting hit. But with savages, it does tend to matter a little bit more. Main tanks are responsible for positioning the boss. They typically have aggro for the majority of the time, that sort of thing. Where the off tank will come in and swap every here and there when it's required, just to make sure that the main tank can stay alive. Depending upon what it is that you're trying to do, like as far as like savage raiding is concerned, you may want to start practicing now. If you're wanting to main tank, then by all means, main tank. But yeah, like Allie said, if I'm the off tank and you have a double tank buster indicator, he'll come he'll come to you. The main tank plants most of the time, and help you resolve that way.
Okay, but yeah, I'm gonna go main tank.
All right, so you'll play off tank for this one, Allie. I'm gonna put these markers up just that you guys can kind of see how they work in action in a synced position. Before we started any of this, I gave you guys ingredients. I gave you cookies, and I gave you little pots. I want you to eat your cookies, please, and pay attention to your health bar as you do. Notice that little increase in food. This is called raid food. Food buffs, if you hover over the other one that I gave you, will add to your stats. They will give you a boost in stats to a maxed cap. They also give you an XP bonus if you're still leveling your class, but for raid purposes, we're not worried about the XP bonus. We're worried about the stat boost. So if you look at that, the food that I gave you a plus 10% to those three stats. Vitality, that's your health, determination, and critical hit, so your crit rate went up by 10%. You use food in extremes and savages. If you are in an EX or a savage of any kind and you have raid food, you need to be using raid food. You will also use raid food in current content. So on a patch day, when we get a new dungeon and a new trial, you may want to eat your raid food. We're not in extreme right now. Right now, we're just in normal. I figured the safest environment would be easier for you guys to learn. If we go into a savage today, it will probably be Kefka, which we might actually end up going because that'll help with buffs and debuffs, but I'm getting off topic. No, I wouldn't want to take y'all into the EX for this. She's a pain in the ass. Plus, we're getting the Unreal in a couple of weeks. It'll be fine. So, food buffs are crucial for high-end content. Extremes, savages, you can even use them in current content on release day when you're doing the dungeon and the trial for the first time, the newest stuff. You can use them there too, it helps. And that's just because your item level is so close to whatever that content is that stuff's gonna hurt a little bit more. The other thing that I gave you are they're called pots, but they should be grade 1 gem draughts of whatever, strength, dexterity, mind, intelligence, whatever, what have you. These are pots that you will pop during your opener. We talked about openers in the 2-minute window last week and how everybody's 2-minute window should be lining up. At some point during your 2-minute window in your opener, you will be using this pot. A lot of raiders will put them on their hotbar for that reason, just so that they're easier to get to. If you don't have room on your hotbar, don't sweat it. There's probably a chance that you have to use your pot before you start pressing buttons anyway. Just be prepared to do so. The duration of the pots is 30 seconds. So from the point that you use this, 30 seconds will elapse before it stops giving you the bonus effect that it gives you. It takes 4 minutes before you can use another one. So the cooldown timer be crazy. But it is definitely a thing. So, I want you to try using them if you have been practicing your opener or your rotation this week, as I suggested you do for homework. I want you to try weaving in the pot in the process and try doing your opener here. Since we have a dancer, I am going to do a 16-second countdown on this group. I don't know what y'all got going on in that group, but you know, give it a try. And that'll be a thing. So if everyone is ready, Allie, go ahead and hit me with them 16 for our dancer. And we're just gonna do this fight. And I want you guys to just do this fight to the best of your ability. Use your pots if you can. If you're able to weave those in, try using those. Try sticking to your opener in your 2-minute burst window. And let's see what happens. That's okay. They're practice pots. You're totally alright.
No.
You've got ads about to spawn. Bravo Delta. One more ad at Delta. Good job. Group stack. Very good. Raid wide coming out. Ads at Alpha. Four in Bravo. Two. Charlie. Raid wide coming out. Mitts if you got him. Good. Good. Alright, swap sides. Find the safe spot. 1 and 3. Good. Stack marker. Swap sides. Swap sides. Good. Tank buster. Good. Clock spots. Go stand in your clock spots. Move out, then in. Start out. In. Stack up. Ooh. I got it. Stack up. Feint if you have it. Mitts. Nice add-on. Raid wide. Bravo side. Bravo side. Out and in. There's also a stack. Move in. Good. Raid wide. Tank shit. Block spots. Out then in. Move in. Delta side. Nice. And that is what it feels like to be in a raid. Except for make it a little more complicated. Yeah, there's also the LB3 too, Allie. Any questions? All right.
Nope.
So we did this on a real basic level. You guys got to play with markers. You got to respond to calls, things like that. Were there any calls that you did not understand that went out in the moment? Yeah, just a little salt. That's why we teaching them. We're trying to lower the sodium intake. All right. Well, let's head out. The other group, I didn't get a lot of time with you. You did have Deshaun, who is a godsend. Do y'all have questions or concerns, or would you like to go in and simulate a raid environment at all? You think it's good? Okay. Okay. All right. Then in that case, we're going to briefly go through buffs and debuffs. And then if we have any extra time, we'll go unlock Uwu for you guys. It's hard to explain since I am currently typing and listening to you, and typing is hard. Me, bad teacher. Somehow I doubt it. I'm just saying. I was just checking the balance images to see where to pop the pots. Got it now? Yep, and that's where the challenge comes in, right? So there is stuff here that I can't inherently teach you how to do. You just have to practice and kind of get good with it. Popping pots on time is one of those things. It is hard. You are going to miss your pot window. You are going to pop early or not at all. There are veteran raiders that do that now. I can't tell you how many times I've forgotten to pop a pot or have popped a pot and I shouldn't have. You're human. To err is human. So give yourself some grace and just keep practicing. You can buy pots off of the market board for super duper cheap. If you are a crafter, you can actually make these with your alchemist class. So, you know, get a big old stack of pots, cheap ones. Don't buy the expensive ones. Get a big old stack of pots and go into some trials, go into some raids, even if they're just normal, and start practicing using your 2-minute window, using your opener, popping your pot on time. Start building up that muscle memory now. That way, when you do start getting into the extremes, into the savages that are current content, it's already naturally there. The hurdle is already over. You're already over the hurdle because you know how to do this stuff, which means you will have an edge up on a lot of other players. And when I say a lot to you, I do mean a lot. So you want to start kind of molding together everything that you've learned in the past 4 weeks. We've met up 4 times at this point. All the pieces, the mech pieces, you know how to identify mechanics, you know what certain mechanics look like, you know what they mean. Your rotation, your 2-minute window, we know what that is. You know what stats to be looking at for the class that you're going to be playing. You guys have all the puzzle pieces. Now it's time to put them in a bowl, mix them together, make yourself a delicious meal that is rating, and mwah, I'm a badass. So, we're going to go over buffs and debuffs. I've sent you guys the link to this already. It's in the voice call chat. I'm also going to put it in Say Chat in game, just in case somebody may have missed it. And once that, I'll relink it again in the voice call if that is easier to grab for you. Save that, keep it, pull it up, open it, and follow along for me. We are going to very quickly and briefly go through these. Before I do, last week I had you guys rearrange your HUD. That middle window that shows off your buffs and debuffs are where you are going to start seeing some of these appear. If you have figured out that that is not in a place that is convenient for you, you may want to consider moving it to somewhere that is. I know a lot of people that keep their buffs and debuffs right above their buttons so that they can see them directly and easily. So that may be something that works better for you. If it does, great. If it doesn't, that's fine. Just keep moving it around until you find somewhere that works. You can make it bigger so that they're easier to see and they pull your attention in, just like you did with the cast bar. Or you can make them smaller, whatever works for you. If you are struggling with the buff debuff bar, know that they also pop up next to your name in your party list. So if you're like me and you don't always look at that buff debuff bar, you can look at the party list and see the same thing. So something else to keep in mind, because you always know where your name is, right? It's always going to be in the same place. So might be something that works a bit better for you. All right. We talked about cleansable and non-cleansable. That's the first thing that you see. We talked about the difference between what buffs and debuffs look like. We're just very quickly going to go through the list a little bit so that you can familiarize yourself with some super common ones. And we've talked about a few of these in the past as we were talking about other things, but just for the list. Transcendence, aka res immunity. That's what you'll hear it called oftentimes in calls and party finders, is res immunity. You get 5 seconds after being revived where nothing can hurt you unless you press a button. Take advantage of that 5 seconds. The more you go into raiding, the more you go into extremes and things like that, the better you will get at learning when to res at the proper or correct times. For the time being, just practice. Just know that for the most part, you will get 5 seconds of immunity where nothing can hurt you, nothing can kill you again, unless you push a button after you are revived. This is not always true. There are ultimates where res immunity is not a thing. But you're not an ultimate raider yet, so don't worry about that. Weakness debuff and brink of death debuff are things that you get after being rezzed. If you are rezzed, you will automatically have weakness. It lasts for 2 minutes. What that means is that your attack power is 25% less than it should be. You are weaker than you are normally. if you die again before that first one is removed, it goes up to 50%. So, again, take advantage of that buff, that res immunity, so that you don't have to deal with Brink of Death after weakness. Yeah, it's a thing. All right, we've got our Vuln stacks and buffs and debuffs. I call them cheese puffs. So if you scroll down to page 2, you'll see 3 things at the top there. The first 2 are cheese puffs. Those are Vuln stacks. Basically means that if you have one of those, you're going to take more damage than anybody else. You also have a vulnerability down, which is a Vuln buff. It does the opposite of a Vuln down, or I'm sorry, vulnerability up does the opposite of vulnerability down, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So you have Vuln stacks and not Vuln stacks, basically. I call them cheese puffs. Some people will call them Vuln snacks, because why are you eating them? They're bad for you. You can get up to 8. You can get up to 8 Vuln stacks. So we don't want these cheese puffs. These cheese puffs fell on the floor. They have dirt on them. Don't eat those. There are other kinds of vulnerability down debuffs as well. They are pictured directly below those. They have some sort of element or type of attack attached to them. So you have your piercing, your blunt, your slicing. You also have the elemental ones like lightning, wind, water. If you have been into Eureka, you will recognize the second half of those and the element symbols that they stand for. If you have not been into Eureka, the document here will actually list what is what in the specific order. So the first one with the diamonds is magical. The second one is just straight physical. Then you have your blunt, your slashing, and your piercing. Piercing and slashing. I'm sorry, had them backwards. Then you have your elements. You know, water, fire, earth, ice, lightning, wind, the avatar. Ooh, master of all 4 elements. These are debuffs. Sometimes these debuffs will do something to your character because they have a timer. They'll have a timer, and when that timer reaches 0, something will happen. Ukob has symbols similar to this with the elements on them. If you have a lightning debuff on you, when that reaches 0, it's going to do a lightning AoE off of your body, so you have to go away from the group, for example. If you are ever curious about what a debuff does, you can actually put your mouse over it and it will tell you, it will give you a brief description. So keep that in mind. Same thing with buffs also. You just put your mouse over something without clicking on it, it will give you a description of it. If you guys want to see what I mean, you can actually target Sani, aka Qseer, in game right now. He has his tank stance on, which means he has a buff on. You can actually mouse over that buff after you target him and it will give you a description of it, so you can see what I mean. In addition to Vuln downs with the elemental stuff attached to it, you also have Vuln ups, which is a resistance to whatever that element or attack is. So same principle, except for this can't hurt me or this hurts me less. It's a buff. Doom! Twice come ruin and thrice come ruin are underneath that. Doom is a countdown timer. You are literally counting down the seconds until you inevitably perish. Some of these can be cleansed. Others cannot. You have to satisfy a requirement or just not get it in the first place. If you do get it, you are screwed and need to be rezzed. Thrice come ruin and twice come ruin are basically the same thing, with the exception of there's not usually a timer attached to these. It's just if you get another one, you're out of there. You were officially playing baseball. 3 strikes, you're out. Although in some cases, it is 2 strikes and you're out. That is the one that is next to the Doom timer there that you see. Moving on to the next page, that's page 3. We have already kind of talked about Forced March. We did not talk about the debuffs and what they entail specifically when you have a Forced March. Fortunately for you, the Forced March debuffs will usually tell you which direction they are going to send you in. And that is how you resolve it. So if you look and you have an arrow that is facing left, you are going to walk left when the timer gets to 0. And so on and such forth. If it is facing up, you're going to walk forward. If it's facing down, you're going to walk backwards. Right is going to go to the right. So you can plan accordingly based on those things, and save yourself from inevitable doom or death. We have below that stun, terror, petrification, down for the count, and feathers. There's also a sleep debuff in there that is not referenced, but we'll talk about that too. Stun wears off. You guys know what stun is. You do it to enemies all the time. Terror will make you literally run around in a panic. There is nothing you can do except run around in a panic for however many seconds it takes for that to wear off. Be careful. Petrification turns you to stone. You can't take any actions or move. Sometimes you can still take damage, sometimes you can't. It really just depends. Sleep can be canceled the moment that you take an attack. But it does put you to sleep. You can't move or press buttons for the duration that is on. If something hits you, it goes away. Down for the count is exactly what it sounds like. You are down. You cannot move or take any action. Same thing with fetters. You are bound and cannot take any action. Fetters can usually be cleansed, or you can be freed from that with damage for whatever has you fettered. That one is good for going away. And remember, if any of these have a white bar across the top, they can be cleansed. If they do not, typically you just kind of have to ride it out. If I recall correctly, you can cleanse it, but it's not used because it's based off of an emote. That for terror, yes. So for terror, if you wanted to save your homie from running around every which way, you would target them and then do, I think it's soothe, like literally the emote / soothe, and it'll cleanse it in some cases. It ain't really worth it. I'm not gonna hold you. Plus, it's kind of funny to watch your friends run around for 5 seconds. But if you want to try it out, go right ahead. If you end up in that situation, it's your time to shine. Silence and pacification. They remove your ability to cast things or use specific weapon skills if you are a physical type of player. There are certain abilities or OGCDs that are not affected by these two things, so you can still use some of your buttons in some cases. It's wild, I know. Temporary misdirection. This one's fun, and it actually comes with something that happens to your character in-game most of the time. This is what the debuff for it looks like. You may recognize it better as having a little arrow over your head, the little pointer dude with the hand spinning. Temporary misdirection is that spinning hand, where basically if you press forward, you're going to run in the direction that the hand is pointing. This is what the debuff for it looks like. Prey and slippery prey. We talked about these when we talked about Dorito chips. And sharing your Doritos to save yourself from anything that might happen with prey. This is just the debuff that goes along with it. We talked about that with mechs. It's one of your favorite debuffs, yeah. Infirmity, healers, you may want to pay attention to this one because it reduces healing from all sources. So if somebody has this on their body and no matter what you do, they just not like their health not going up, this might be why. So check for that as a debuff, healers, oftentimes. This does include self-heals, by the way, too, for the rest of you. So just so that you know what it looks like, there it is. I can't say that I have seen that very often in recent years, but typically when we don't see stuff very often in recent years, it pop out of nowhere, out of the woodworks later on. So, you know, make a note of it because you never know what's happening in 8.0. That hand is annoying. It's fun. Best thing I can tell you is treat it like an arcade game and just push forward when the arrow appears to be pointing in some kind of relative direction, or you can just brute force that shit and push forward regardless and hope that eventually you'll make it to a safe spot. There's 2 ways to handle temporary misdirection. Those are them. Acceleration bombs. We've talked about these and I have shown you one of the debuffs. The other is this exclamation point here that you are seeing, this red one. They mean the same thing. Don't move. The red one is instant. If you have the red one, that means don't move right now. If you have the little pink and green one, that means when the countdown gets to 1, stop moving. Stop hitting. Stop. Hands off the keys. Pyretic is similar to Acceleration Bomb with less of a punishment. This basically means that your character is on fire. Any movement or action taken will give you a tick of damage while you have this debuff. Pyretic is super annoying, especially if you're a melee and you're trying to get your uptime and you're caught on fire in the middle of a burst. But please, healers, bear in mind that someone may choose to just not participate in this mechanic in the sense of, I see that I'm on fire and I don't care, I'm going to press these buttons. Those people are going to rapidly drop in health. You need to keep an eye on them. Yeah, Deshaun. If you want to be helpful, you can stop pressing buttons and stop moving, and then eventually Pyretic goes away and you can go back to doing what you're doing. Just weigh the risks against the rewards. Damage over time takes many forms. All of these are them. Some of them are elemental based, as you can see. You've got the elements back in there. Others are attack based. You've got slashing, piercing, blunt damage in there, physical damage in there. They all do the same thing. They take away at your health. And many of them can be stacked. This is not a complete list, by the way. The person even notes here that they refuse to name all of them. Damage over time, or dot debuffs, can look different. This is where mousing over comes into play to see what something does. And whether or not it can be cleansed. Off balance, I'm gonna be real with you, I have never noticed this. If it is something that I have had at some point in the game, and I'm sure it is, I have not noticed it. Apparently, it's something that happens when you're in the middle of a knockback. I don't know, check for it and see if you can see it? Question mark. Typically when you're being knocked back, you know that you're being knocked back because your character is being knocked to the other side of the map. See you later, Yada! You have, I don't know where, but I've seen it. I'm sure I have. I'm quite positive it's popped up at some point or another. I just ain't noticed it. And that's why I said it doesn't, instead of saying it doesn't exist, I'm just gonna tell you I've not noticed it. If I've been knocked back, I've noticed I've been knocked back because my character has physically been pushed away. Beyond Death is an interesting one, and it only pops up in some really niche places. Basically, if you have this, stuff that would normally kill you won't kill you. And occasionally, you have to stand in the stuff that's going to kill you to keep this from killing you. This has mechanics that need to be satisfied around it. The biggest glaring example I can think of is in the second Alliance raid for Heavensward. What is that? Weeping City of Mach? The Death Chalices. It's like the second or third boss, I want to say. Yeah. There's a point where you're like zombified and you have to go stand in the Death Chalices to get it cleansed and survive. Because if you don't stand in the Death Chalices and cleanse it, you die. And if you stand in the Death Chalices without it, you die. It's weird, but it is a thing that pops up in some places in-game. So just be aware of what Beyond Death looks like. That way, if you run into this down the line, you're not like shocked Pikachu face like, ah, what just happened? It's Living Dead for everybody else without any of the benefits, is the best way I can describe what this is. We don't talk about that mech. Yeah, the zombie debuff. Yeah. Yeah, you gotta stay in the goo. Yep. There's not a lot of places this pops up at. So I don't fault you for not recognizing it or being confused if it were to happen to you. Checking your debuffs is going to be something you'll get into the habit of doing with time. If you see that one, you now know what it's for. Then we've got kind of your basic ones that you see here and have been seeing here since A World Reborn. You may have also seen these when you were doing the mech challenges with the Smith. Bind, Heavy, Blind, Paralysis. Bind keeps you from moving, Heavy makes you move slow, Blind means you're gonna miss, especially if you're a Fizz player. Paralysis is basically the hiccups. Every couple of seconds you'll freeze, you won't be able to use your abilities for half a second. Slow, this affects your abilities, not your body. This will make it so that your auto attacks and your abilities cycle slower than usual. And then the last one, HP penalty. This reduces your max HP to a fixed amount. A lot of people don't recognize this when they see it, but that's what's happening. It's lowered your hit points to some degree, and it cannot go above that degree until this debuff is gone. Palace of the Dead trauma. And those are all of your common debuffs, buff situation. Any questions about any of those? Prime number robot. Yes, exactly. Yeah, you do. You get the HP fixed HP debuff with the math bot. I am unsure if Kefka Savage is going to give us any debuffs, but because we have time to spare, specifically half of an hour, I'm gonna take you guys through Kefka Savage to unlock your second ultimate, and that will be how we spend the rest of our class. I thought we would probably have more questions today than not. I'm not necessarily going to call this unless you want me to call it like a raid caller, in which case you're gonna have to give me a couple of rounds, because God, I don't remember anything about this fight. It's so stupid. But that is what we are going to do. I have one more spot in the party that I have now. Does anybody want that spot to unlock this? 2, actually, because Alston already has it unlocked, so I'm gonna kick him out. No shade, Alston. Revan wants to go. They don't have it. Okay. Can't say I know the Savage myself. You don't need to. It's just damage based. Does anybody else want to... You just have the weapons refrain? Then that means you already have it unlocked. You've already done what we're about to go do. You can stay or not. It's entirely up to you, because it looks like the only other person... Yes, it is the weapons refrain. You don't have Uwu. Well, Uwu is weapons refrain. Okay. I don't think we need to give space to anybody else, actually. I think everyone else here has it, except for maybe Alpaca. I don't know if you want to go with, to unlock Uwu. We're gonna take some of these. I know some of you guys probably don't have it, so we're gonna take you guys to do that. It would be under ultimates. So if you go into your duty finder, you have a regular duty tab and a high-end duty tab. There's a purple monster in there. That's where ultimate weapons refrain ultimate would be. Ooh, woo. Okay, well, then we have one more spot. Who wants it? Yada? You're going to see your little clown bestie. You wanna go? Nah, don't take Yada. Oh, are you taking Yada on ninja school stuff? Okay. You're stealing him. All right. I'll come to help if you just want a body. Yeah, it just goes faster if it's unsynced, that's all. Which this is about to be. Those of you that are learning, I would like you to use the classes that you plan on raiding on. I want you to get used to using those classes. The rest of you, yeah, Yada's been dismissed. I'm gonna steal him, take him down. He's with Deshaun in there. They're branching off for other stuff. All right, if everyone is ready, we're gonna put this back into unrestricted, and we're gonna go see a clown. You hate that clown. And the motherfuckers that was doing this when it was on release hate that clown more than almost anything in the game. Almost anything in the game. All right, let's do 16, Allie, for our dancer. Pop food for this. I want you guys to eat so that you can kind of see the difference in how hard you hit, please. And we'll do a ready check and a countdown timer. These are really common in high end. Please respect them, because if you don't, you are literally ruining somebody's 2-minute window. So when you start getting into party finders, you see a ready check pop up, go ahead and hit yes. And then when the timer countdown is happening, don't rush in. Wait, because somebody needs that time so that their window lines up with your window. Is there a difference with using standard or tech? You and I can work together a little bit later, but you always want to start with standard step, because that is 15 seconds. So when the 16 pops off, start with standard. Don't resolve it. You resolve it at the 1, and then you do your tech step. And yeah, don't be afraid to hit no if you're not ready. If you're not ready and you need more time, take your time, bro. They'll be all right. They can wait not 5 minutes, but like they can wait 30 seconds. Notice, by the way, we have a debuff. See how that says Epic Echo in your buff? Or not debuff, we have a buff. It says Epic Echo up in the corner there. See that? You can read what it says if you mouse over it. Neat, right? Your food also gives you a buff. You can mouse over that and see what that is as well, if you are curious. With that being said, anybody that targets you can also see whether or not you have eaten. So, you know, eat your food. Stern, you want to start your dance now. This is your window, especially for you. And then just don't finish it until the timer is at 0 and you are in range of hitting the boss. All right. He's gonna die really fast, especially if you guys are actually like making an attempt at your 2-minute window. We are all way over level for this, but we're doing it primarily for the unlock more than anything else. See, we're done. If you don't have the mount or the minion from out of here, stay and roll on this stuff. The weapon coffers, wait, this is normal. Never mind, you can leave. I forgot to put us in Savage. Let's try this again with the right one. Legend, everybody. Hi, Rain. I wondered. It's okay. We talked about a lot of stuff. It's not a big deal. Someone got credit for doing it for the first time. Did they? Let's try it. Let's see if we can get into the Savage then, if that's the case. We may not necessarily be able to. We're gonna find out. Find out right now. Oh, yeah, nah, we're good. All right, same rules, ready check, countdown timer. Your food is fine. That food lasts for 30 minutes. You can eat 2 of them at once for a max cap of 1 hour. So never eat more than 2 things of food at the same time. Anything more than that, you're literally wasting it. It doesn't do anything and it doesn't stack. You only get an hour tops. So your food is still good. Once you see that 16-second timer start, Steern, press your standard step right there. And then you'll just resolve it within reach of him right when it gets to like 1. Don't be afraid to run in ahead of the tank too. Tanks have provoke tools. They're probably going to get control of it before it ever hits you. You gotta be a little fearless. Same with the rest of you too, by the way. A little bit of a YOLO. Just a little bit of a YOLO. Oh, it was you clearing it 5 times? Okay. All right. Once everyone's ready. Do your best to stick to your 2-minute opener rotation. Try to keep that in if you're feeling like an extracurricular kid. Pop your pots. Yeah. There we go. He's not melting nearly as fast this time. Stack marker. He is probably going to die before we can get a phase change out of him. I could be wrong though. Oh yeah, he can't be killed. I forgot. We gotta go through all the shenanigans. So he's gonna knock us back. You guys all have debuffs. Notice that. Mouse over them, see what they do if you're curious. Oh, that's right. I do have a little bit of work to do, don't I? I have my lilies. It should be fine. All right, this chest. There's a mount and a minion in here. There are also weapon coffers and a chest coffer. Pony, there's a pair of monk weapons if you're curious and want those and don't already have them. Feel free to roll on this stuff. The weapons that come out of here are pretty stylish. I am a big fan of the white mage staff and the black mage staff out of here specifically. So if you win that weapon coffer, you know, enjoy that. I'm gonna pass on this stuff because I don't need it. Yeah. You're mount farming. Ah, I see. Okay. Now, for those of you that may not have had Ultimate, please follow me. Take this teleport to Kugane. We're gonna go and see the minstrel. Yay! Once you get to Kugane, you can either run across the big red bridge if that makes you feel better, or you can take the Aetheryte to the Kugane Dori markets, whichever makes you happiest. The Wandering Minstrel is right here hanging out. One note before you talk to him. These cutscenes cannot be revisited in the Unending Journey book. So if you are someone that likes cutscenes out of this game, you are going to want to take your time and enjoy it. There is no way to rewatch it. And oftentimes he will ask you a question that you need to answer. So. Yeah, you didn't have to go if you didn't want to, Revan. This is optional. This is just extra that we're doing tonight. Lesson plan done for the day. We ran through it pretty quick. You guys seem to understand the waymarks. Oh, there is one other thing we can go over, actually. I'll come back to Edelshire when we're done here. For those of you that have it unlocked, go ahead and head back to Edelshire. You don't necessarily have to be in a group for this. You can just watch my screen for this piece. We don't have to be in an instance or anything. We talked about waymarks, but we didn't talk about markers. I am finding in recent years that markers are becoming less and less frequent, which is why they slipped my mind. However, we'll go over them anyway, just in case if you do see them in the wild, you kind of understand what they're for and what they do. So there's no panic involved. Back to Edelshire with the rest of you. Go ahead and take that teleport Alston gave us. Flash will join us when he's finished, I'm sure. It's raining. Okay. All right. For this, you don't have to do anything necessarily. You can follow along on my screen, or you can play with it yourself on your end in your game if you want to. Entirely up to you either way. Markers. Not to be mistaken for waymarks, despite the fact that people call waymarks markers. This is what we spent most of the day talking about, right? The big floating red letters and numbers. I'm talking about something different. So, markers can be accessed by selecting someone, yourself, another party member, somebody in general, pressing X on your controller, or right-clicking, and then choosing the option for mark. That will open a sub-window that has a bunch of different signs in it. All sorts of fun stuff here. We're just gonna very quickly go through this list. Once we're done with this, I'll be done with you guys for the day and you'll be free. These are markers. These, unlike the ones that are on the floor, go onto an actual player. And if you zoom out, they get bigger. If you zoom in, they get smaller. So that's something that you can try just to see what I mean here. You have 1 through 8. You can use these to mark the order of people if you want to. These are all done manually. You also have these, which are like bind markers. It's a little link chain. You have 1, 2, and 3 for those. You have these no-no symbols. You have 2 of those. You'll find these ones typically on a tank, which is basically, hey, stay off of that person, stay away from that person, don't follow that person. It's an ignore marker. And then you have these shapes, right? These are kind of neat. Just a square, circle, a plus symbol, and a triangle. The triangle is probably the one you'll see most often in the wild. We call it the safety Dorito or the danger Dorito. You will hear that a lot. This just tells you who is safe, who can you follow, who's got the right idea about what's going on. Who can you baby duck after? I've never been in here. I want a guide. I need a guide. They'll put this triangle over their head that says, hey, it's safe to follow me. You're good. You're in good hands if you come with me. Healers will often use the plus one that Ali had over his head. This guy. Healers will typically use that one instead. There are other ones that can be used in the event that, you have more than one team lead. So like alliance raids, for example. You may see more than one of these because of that. They're pretty unobtrusive, and it just gives you something to eyeball in the wild that you can follow really easily. The 1 through 8s are... trying to decide if I wanna. I guess I will. They're often used for a mechanic called limit cut. You guys have not encountered this mechanic. It's not something that I planned on getting into with you guys, with this being a newbie class. That's actually kind of an advanced raid mechanic, and it is one that is really tough to get the hang of. But you can see those used with this sometimes. More often, the 1 through 8s are used in ultimates, and they are used in conjunction with a plugin that will auto mark players so that they know how to resolve a mechanic properly. So you get like a 1, a 2, and a 3, and that will tell you who out of the 8 people need to do a thing and in what order they need to do those things. It is an illegal tool because it is auto marking. Typically, this has to be done manually, right? If you're going to put a marker on a teammate or a player, you have to right-click them, you have to pick which marker, and then it shows up. The plugin does it automatically, and it reveals kind of the truth behind a mechanic so that there really is no thought involved. It gets used more often than not in high-octane, really fast situations, like ultimates. And it's not consistent. It's usually only used once, maybe twice per raid for very, very specific things. It is a plugin. We do know how Yoshi P feels about third-party tools, so if you do get to the point where you are ultimate rating and you encounter that, I just want you to be aware that it is a thing. We're not going to get into the integrity or the moral debate on whether or not AM as a tool is necessary or okay or not okay. Like, we're not going to do that. This is just me bringing it to your attention so that you are aware it exists. That way, if you go out, let's say you finish your Newbies class with me, you feel like you have everything you need, you want to go out in the wild and just really kind of live your truth in Party Finder, and you get to the point where you start an ultimate and you see some markers just kind of pop up out of nowhere, you now know what that is. I'm telling you so that you're not caught off guard more than anything else. You'll have to do some research and make up your own mind as to whether or not you think that it is worthwhile or valid or not valid. Everybody has very different opinions about that sort of thing, and so I am not going to try to impact that one way or the other. I'm just going to let you know it exists, so don't be shocked. That's all. Any questions about markers for players? Okay. In that case, bear with me for half a moment. I'm gonna grab something for most of you. Splash, you have a little bit of catching up to do before this will be of any use to you. So I am going to tell you to just pretend you do not see it until you get to the point that you need to be at in game. Oh, I didn't know Miztech did one. Give me 1 second, because I found one that I think may actually serve us a bit better. I just want to skim it first just to see. What I'm going to be linking to you is a tool that often gets used for high-end stuff. It is a guide. There are guides come in all forms. We have some of the content creators that are better known for guides that publish them. And then we have something called Pastebin, which we will get into if you continue with the Academy. We're not going to worry about Pastebins at this level. But they're guides, basically. It's a site that you go to, and it's basically a slideshow of like how to do stuff. So I'm going to put this in the voice call chat. I am going to censor it just because Splash is not quite there yet in the story. If you haven't done the first trial of Dawn Trail, do not unspoiler that. Everybody else in the call is good to grab that. You are golden to use that. This is what we are going to be doing next week. So your homework for this week is to watch that guide at least once and practice your 2-minute, your opener and your rotation. I want you to get it to a striking dummy. I want you to put in 10 minutes of work. I want you to research, find out what pots you use for your class. And I want you to watch this guide. This will be in preparation for this next week. We will still be teaching you next week, mind you. But this is some prep work. This is kind of what goes into rating. This is kind of what goes into doing high end. So I'm trying to build the habits for you now. That way you don't feel overwhelmed when you do go try to do something in the future down the line. Do y'all homework? Yeah, I mean, he's not wrong. Everything that I'm giving you is gonna set you up for success down the line. It all interplays. If you've noticed, the lessons have been staggered in such a way that stuff that we talked about the previous week helps you understand the next concept in line. The homework I give you is no different. This is what is the difference between AY and X. Aether is also not there yet, right? I'm not sure. I thought Seiji was done. I feel like we've done Dawn Trail stuff with Aether Wallace on her other character. This character is not, though. This character she plays with a very dear friend together with. Again, if you are not there and you feel like you can't make it there, please don't rush. This is a Final Fantasy game. Story is king, first and foremost before all else. That is why you were playing it. Everybody in here has something in common. They love a good story. So don't rush it for rating, please. This ain't gonna go nowhere. These rules don't change. That's why I'm able to sit down and teach you this. This stuff has been the same for I don't know how long. It was like this before I got here. It's been like this since I've been here. It will continue to be like this in the future. There is no reason to rush, and there's definitely no reason to apologize. Enjoy your story. Enjoy your journey. If you can participate in the extreme prog and trying out something that would be considered quote unquote on content that is level 100, come participate. If you can't, that is fine. That is okay. You can come watch. You can come listen. You can kind of see how it plays out. And then you're still okay as long as you have Endwalker and Endwalker raids. So you will have another set of homework, but I'm not going to worry about it right now. I don't want to dogpile you with like a bunch of stuff to do in 14. So for now, watch that guide, practice your rotation, find out what pots you need to be using, and we will go in and try this. For this extreme, do you think we're going to be more than 8? Potentially. There's been more than 8 of you guys showing up to each class. If you don't, this is all optional, by the way. All of this is optional. This is why you don't hear me complain about someone being here or not being here. If you come, you get the benefit of being in the class, you learn stuff. If you don't, then that's fine. Y'all not paying me, I'm not paying y'all. This ain't college. But yeah, you see, we have people, most of my FC kids have probably already cleared this. So there will be available spots if this is something that you want to go do. You've done it quite a lot, so I can give my spot if someone else wants to do it. Yeah, no, my advice would be show up and we'll work it out the day of. For all we know, we may end up with 2 groups. It's close to 16 people in here in general, as is right now. And so just come show up. We'll work it out on the spot. I do know there are a couple of people that haven't done it or haven't done an extreme just in general. And so this will be really good for them. Even if it's just watching on the sidelines. So, yeah. Any questions, comments, concerns before we end for the day? When is Frew? This train don't go to Frew Town. So you tell me when you're going to teach Frew. Back to MSQ I go. And don't rush Splash. You're already in Dawn Trail. You'll probably get it within a week. You'll be at this trial. Backflips and explosions. Yeah, no, don't worry about rushing it, you guys. Extremes don't go anywhere. Savages don't go anywhere. Ultimates definitely don't go anywhere. They are timeless. So, like, if you get to sit in, great. If you don't, you don't. It does not matter. It's just a game. And the most important thing is enjoying it. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and stop stream at the very least. We can hang out for a few more minutes and see if you guys have any more questions.